Hey folks, the news that the Daily Wire's Brett Cooper has finally hit the road is old by this point. Well, there's still a degree of speculation in the air as to why she left, with the common consensus seeming to be that the split was money related. I wanted to take a moment to talk about Brett with respect to her successor, Reagan Conrad, who seems to be the Daily Wire's first attempt at growing a conservative pundit in a lab. Formerly called the comment section with Brett Cooper, the channel Brett used to upload to is now just called the comment section, and its output hasn't really slowed in the slightest. Having released 7 videos on the channel in the last week, the DW is clearly trying to continue with business as usual, which makes sense at first glance, but is a little bit strange given the role Brett Cooper filled in their organization. Brett's job during her tenure as a Daily Wire commentator, more than anything else, was to manufacture authenticity. More important than the words she said was the setting in which she said them. To the uninitiated viewer, she looked like just another Gen Z kid with an interest in politics making videos in her bedroom who happened to be conservative. Her set was designed to show off her personality and took cues both from the Daily Wire's more professional shows as well as contemporary Gen Z YouTube channels, but it was just that, a set. Brett Cooper was making her videos in a studio with producers and writers doing their best to calculate exactly what would sell to a Gen Z demographic, something they were clearly very successful at. But all of that work relied on the idea that Brett was real in some way. While she never properly hid the true nature of her show, it was clearly meant as a background detail, something to ignore while she was speaking. Even if you knew that Brett Cooper was as fake as they come, you weren't meant to believe that. Looking over at the Brett Cooper subreddit, you can even see fans of hers who could have sworn that the comment section was her own original work. And all of this makes the Daily Wire's decision to instantly recast the role of Brett Cooper really interesting. Reagan Conrad has had a role in the comment section for a long time, and she's guest hosted a few episodes here or there, but she was never the main event. She still isn't. As I said earlier, when Brett Cooper's name was removed from the channel name, Reagan Conrad's was not added in. In the places where her name does appear, it's distinctly less emphasized. When watching a video hosted by Conrad in 2025, the insincerity of the project of the comment section is almost impossible to ignore. Suddenly, the multiple camera angles and producer-approved bedroom set is a lot more noticeable. I mean, it's especially noticeable because it's the same fucking set. They just slightly changed up the decor and made the lighting uglier and called it a day. The fact they felt the need to change it at all demonstrates that they knew perceived authenticity was a priority, but they were seemingly too lazy to commit to the bit. What I think all of this really symbolizes, though, is the fact that the Daily Wire doesn't want you to think about the fact that another one of its biggest hosts is gone. They want to create a new set to balance the implied authenticity of Brett Cooper's old set with its recognizability, emphasizing that Reagan Conrad is going to be more of the same. And I don't think this is super surprising from a business perspective. Lots of companies replace their spokespeople for any number of reasons, but the chief appeal of Brett Cooper was that she isn't an extension of a business. She's just one of you young conservatives with a lot of opinions and a website to share them on. In this way, I think that Brett Cooper was kind of irreplaceable, not because she's some sort of once-in-a-generation talent or lightning in a bottle, because she clearly isn't that, but because her bit can't be replicated. The channel is currently hemorrhaging subscribers, having lost around 400,000 since Cooper left at the time of recording, with view numbers taking a similar dip. Only 7 of the last 20 videos posted since Brett Cooper's departure have cracked 100,000 views, while none of the 20 before that fell below that number. And of course, many of the lowest performing videos during that time were hosted by Reagan Conrad anyway. Unrelated to all of this, you should check out the announcement video for my sci-fi novel, The Empath. Hopefully the autofocus is working. You can also read the first few chapters down below. I think it's a pretty good story. It's worth checking out. Please also consider subscribing to me and pressing like on this bizarre ramble of a video. If the Daily Wire is allowed to do bizarre, tasteless ad breaks, then so am I. Anyhow, back to the next paragraph of this script. I'm sure that the comment section will eventually level out, maybe even grow at some point. But if I were to hazard a guess, Reagan Conrad is unlikely to get the same kind of branding that her predecessor did. Everything uploaded to her channel will be an implicit apology for her existence. She'll never reach the same level of popularity because, to an extent, the veil has been pulled off. Even the least attentive viewers are likely to realize that the comment section is kind of a fraud. And they may still enjoy it anyway. Lord knows conservatives are fine supporting obvious scams. I mean, this is the party that claims to hate pedophiles while idolizing the man who compared his own sexual tastes to his terrific friend Jeffrey Epstein, who, as he put it, liked women on the younger side. What I'm saying is that Reagan Conrad is going to be fine. She's also just going to be nothing. A voice to fill the void who will forever be trying to replicate the success of a woman who's really only about 20% less fake than she is. In Conrad's video titled "Why Everyone is Obsessed with Trump's Granddaughter," which you likely won't be surprised to hear is not about the time-honored Trump tradition of finding your own children attractive.
Guy, what do you think? Getting makeup make me look sexy like you?
She talks about Kai Trump's recent efforts in the world of content creation before segueing into a supplements ad. And as she shows clips of Kai's work, I'm struck by how much more effective the propaganda is.
Her videos are similar to the OG vlog day in the lives that were popular a couple years ago with people like Emma Chamberlain. But what she's doing differently is she's hired clearly a friend who's a videographer, and he's just been filming her going around in her daily life. It's just her working out and then going to golf and then driving around in her Cybertruck. I've watched all of these videos and they are just objectively fun.
While Kai Trump is no doubt another calculated attempt to capture the Gen Z demographic in a completely soulless manner, the people instructing her behind the scenes clearly have a modicum of understanding of how to appear sincere. The videos appear to be filmed on a cell phone or some similarly middling quality camera. The camera shakes and moves around because there's an actual person holding it. The videos are titled the way one would expect a Zoomer to title them. Brett Cooper once dominated the space of real Zoomer conservative, at least in part because there weren't, at least to my knowledge, many well-planned alternatives. Sure, the videos look fake as hell, but no other young conservative woman, again, at least to my knowledge, that was trying to appeal to that demographic had a team of writers and editors capable of churning out content as consistently as she did. And to be clear, that's a bad thing. The fact that not only is Kai Trump doing a bad job of repping my fucking name, but she's also an effective vehicle for fascist propaganda is a very bad fact indeed. It just continues to highlight what I guess is the thesis statement of this video, that the Daily Wire is a successful failed experiment. Sorry if I'm clicking the remote. I don't know why I'm doing that either. The people behind the DW are so out of touch that they're no longer able to even convincingly replicate the facade of being in touch. I'd argue that they were never particularly good at that to begin with, but clearly at least a few million people saw the guy who told people to sell their homes and move in the event of catastrophic global flooding and thought, yep, that's a man of the people. The Daily Wire is clearly falling out of favor in certain conservative circles, at least primarily because the right is ramping up their anti-Semitism, a fact which I both pointed out in a video 2 years ago and which was highlighted in the wake of esteemed neo-Nazi Candace Owens' departure from the network. They're not going anywhere soon, but their attempt to create a new right powered by facts and logic have clearly failed. All of this is the world's most roundabout way of saying, I don't anticipate that I'm going to be talking about the Daily Wire all that much in the future. You may have noticed that PragerU, Ben Shapiro, and other similar commentators who previously were arguably mainstays of this channel haven't really appeared to any significant degree in a while, for the simple reason that the people working at that network have lost any hints of relatability that I could previously latch onto. I have started to feel uncomfortable making a video debunking Ben Shapiro and calling him a dork loser, as I am wont to do, because I can't really pretend that that's what he is anymore. They're no longer even fun to laugh at. They're just a desperate attempt to scam entire generations, one pretend bedroom at a time. I don't really know what exactly was the purpose of this video other than to talk about how fucking bizarre the Daily Wire is as a company. I mean, clearly there wasn't like an obvious beginning, middle, and end to this thing, but I appreciate you listening to me rattle off a bunch of words nonetheless. Please, anyway, consider checking out the first few chapters of my book in the description, like I already said. Like, subscribe, all of that bullshit, and please call me when it's over.